What is going on, people? My name is Frank and welcome back to Cannon Talks. Today we are going to be reviewing the game that ended Southampton 0, Arsenal 2. Now of course we're going to start out with the lineup. I wasn't overly disappointed about the lineup. He stuck with our regular formation. The only thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that he didn't start Alexander Lacazette, which I definitely would have, but it ended up working out for us in the end. Getting into the first half, the first talking point that we have to talk about is of course Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's miss. Clean through on goal, just had to put it in that bottom right. To be fair, I'm making it sound a lot easier than it was. It was in an awkward angle. Alex McCarthy just got his hand onto it and it hit the crossbar, but nevertheless, a striker of Aubameyang's qualities should have scored that. But not too long after that, bang, Eddie Nketiah makes it 1-0 to the Arsenal. Now, this was the scrappiest of all the scrappy goals. Terrible distribution from Alex McCarthy. Give it straight to Eddie Nketiah at his feet. He's taking it past the keeper and a quick and easy tap in it was for Eddie. Now, Eddie had a really good first half for me, and you can tell he's starting to come out of his shell and he's really starting to show what a good striker he can be at such a young age. Admittedly, no Kylian Mbappe, but it's good enough for us. And that first half was arguably the best half of football that we have played since the return of the Premier League. And we've not really got much to go off of, to be fair, because the rest of our performances have been awful. Moving on to the second half, we're going to start the same way. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Now, this man is one goal off of 50 Premier League goals for the Gunners, and you can sort of tell that he's trying too hard, if you get what I mean. Never knew a striker could try too hard to score. He had a very early chance, which he, of course, tried to square to Eddie Nketiah before the ball was given away, and he should have just taken the lever off of that ball and smashed it into the top right. Unfortunately, it just wasn't to be. Kieran Tierney was of course forced off due to an injury, and that's not a good word for us right now. We've got players getting injured left, right and centre. He was of course replaced by Sead Kolasinac, but thankfully the injury doesn't look too bad. He was able to walk off the pitch, so hopefully, fingers crossed, it's nothing too serious. More poor defending from Southampton. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was sent straight through once again, only to be absolutely clattered by Jack Stevens. He was the last man, and of course he had to receive the red card. From that foul, we of course got a free kick from close range. We didn't score directly from the free kick, but we forced the save out of Alex McCarthy, and who was there to tap it in? It would be Mr. Joe Willock. Arsenal make it 2-0. Now that is two youth academy graduates that have scored in today's game, and we need to be putting more emphasis into our youth players. We have got such a talented pool of young players. Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, Joe Willock, William Saliba of course, who's coming back. Even players like Trey Coyle, who was nominated for the UEFA Golden Boy Award unexpectedly. That should settle it. If the first team players ain't good enough, put the kids in. And overall, for that second half, it was a much flatter tempo than what we saw in the first half. And Arsenal are gonna have to learn to keep the same energy throughout the games if we want to keep picking up 3 points in all of our remaining games. Because if we're being honest, Southampton ain't the best of teams, and we got somewhat lucky because when you take your foot off the pedal against these bigger teams, they make you pay for it. Thankfully, Southampton isn't one of those bigger teams. But listen guys, overall, it wasn't the most complete of performances, but when you are in the position that Arsenal are in, I don't care how ugly the football is, I don't care how bad we're playing, as long as we pick up the W, I could not care less. Southampton were even beating us for possession throughout a majority of the game, which is very rare for an Arsenal game. Still didn't get to see Mesut Ozil today despite being on the bench for this fixture, and now I am almost certain that there is some sort of issue in the club between Arteta and Mesut Ozil, and that must be the reason that he's not playing. There's no other way to explain it. I know Mikel Arteta is talking about tactical reasons, but again, we could have done with Mesut Ozil today. And on top of that, we're going to have to find a way to fix this Matteo Guendouzi problem. Mikel Arteta of course came out before the game and said he is missing from the squad due to disciplinary reasons. It's clear that he's still got an attitude problem. This is not the first time this has happened, and of course you've only got to look back as far as the Brighton game to see his attitude. Now, this is a massive problem and it should not be allowed to run at a club like Arsenal. Thankfully, this is what Mikel Arteta is trying to prove to him by leaving him out of the squad, proving that his attitude will not be tolerated, and hopefully he can learn from this experience. If not, I don't see him being around the club for that much longer. But guys, that was the game. If I had to give one person the man of the match, for me it has to be Rob Holding. He was absolutely solid at the back today and formed a brilliant partnership with Shkodran Mustafi. And of course I've got to get an honourable mention in there as well. Emiliano Martinez tonight was brilliant. Now, I don't really rate him that highly, to be honest. I don't think he's the best of goalkeepers for us to have as our first choice while Berlano is injured, but today he may have proved me wrong. He of course kept the clean sheet, and as well as that pulled off some fantastic saves to keep us from conceding goals. So Emiliano Martinez, you've proved me wrong. But anyway, guys, that is the end of this review. If you did like it, make sure to leave a like. Also, subscribe to Cannon Talks if you haven't already, as well as turn on post notifications to be alerted when we upload our videos. Let me know down in the comments how you thought this game played out. Who would you have given your man of the match? And are you looking forward to this Sunday's fixture in the FA Cup against Sheffield United? Thank you very much again. I have been Frank. I will see you guys soon. Peace.